Is that? Oh, there we go. All right, we are live.
We did it.
We did it.
We did it.
What
Hicimos.
what did we do, Thorno?
We said welcome to the Cine-Scoots movie show,
Oh hell yeah!
where we discuss the movies that drive us all in a tizzy.
So the wonderful thing about this is
That's what I sound like when I poop.
Oh no! Even if the movies are not always fun,
It's fun to be with friends.
it's fun to be with friends.
Yes.
Uh,
It's fun to have cool art, which
fun
we
to
had
have
last
fantastic
time,
art.
but now it's officially posted.
It is officially posted.
Thank you, May, once again.
Man, I still can't get over how significantly better we look in that picture because
Yeah.
man,
Yeah.
it's a boost.
When future civilizations study this podcast
Go on.
in their undergrad classes, they will look at these testaments to our likeness and image, and that is how we will be remembered.
Yeah, you're not wrong. But anyway, we are here to talk about Fast and Furious. Oh no, sorry, Fast X.
Fast X.
All right, so I know I'm going to talk about this later. I have thoughts about
naming 10 X in franchises. I agree.
No. Not even that.
No.
Just the lack of consistency with this goddamn franchise.
I mean, I think once you get to Too Fast, Too Furious, you can't beat that whatsoever.
3 Fast, 4 Furious.
Is that what they said? I don't know. Wasn't it? So it was Fast and the Furious, Too Fast, Too Furious, right?
So it's Fast and the Furious, Too Fast, Too Furious. What's next?
I don't know.
Fast and Furious, Tokyo Drift.
Uh-huh.
What's next?
I don't know.
Fast and Furious.
Oh.
What's next?
Fast 5.
Ah, wonderful. What's after that?
I don't know.
It's Furious 6.
Very
no,
nice.
Yeah, Furious 6. What's after that?
You call yourself a fan. Fast 7? I don't know.
Furious 7.
Furious 7.
What's after that?
Fast 8?
Nope.
No.
Fate of the Furious.
Oh, I kind of remember that.
What's next?
They're finally creeping into the point in my timeline brain where I actually sort of paid attention to what the fuck was happening. Fast 9? Isn't it called Fast 9?
It's called F9.
F9. And then we have Fast X.
Then we have Fast X.
Fast X.
So, I feel like in a way, that to me feels like you should have consistency in your movies. Because there's always the argument of why have we gotten rid of numbers in movies? Have you heard about that argument?
I mean, other than that, it's dumb that we got rid of them. Or
have you heard the reason why?
Oh, to allow for Halloween 2018 moments? I don't know.
No. So apparently the reason why that happened is because they noticed that a lot of people would not go see a sequel
if it was just called.
If it was Fast 5, because they go, well, I haven't seen Fast 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so it's a way to trick people into being oh, it's not just the second movie. That's the reason why the last numbered MCU movie was
Captain America 2? Or
no, Iron Man 3.
Iron Man 3, yeah.
All the other ones, at least with Guardians, you have Volume 1, 2, and 3.
Right.
Which, whatever, right? Yeah. But those are outliers. Every other movie is something else, right?
Else, yeah.
And apparently that's the reason. And I think there is something about consistency. You want to keep your shit consistent.
I honestly blame Xbox the most. The dumbest.
Oh man, yeah.
The dumbest.
Xbox 360,
Xbox One,
Xbox Series X and S. Holy shit.
It's big stupid.
It is big stupid. I do agree. But so we are here to talk about Fast X, which is technically speaking, it's the 11th entry in the Fast and Furious franchise.
But we are not counting side stories.
Officially speaking, yeah, they don't consider Hobbs and Shaw a mainline movie, which will kind of play into my thoughts later on going into the future of this franchise.
Alrighty.
But this movie is the Fast family has to deal with repercussions of their past, which is essentially every other movie.
May I ask a brief question?
Yes.
All right. So let's get this out of the way.
Yes.
This is my first Fast and the Furious
Which
movie.
insane. What was the quote from that video?
Long story short, they thought that like there would be nobody who this would
They're
be
like,
their first.
they're like, who the fuck is showing up to the 10th Fast and Furious movie as their first movie?
Me, bitch.
And I was like, oh my god.
And I have
Anna.
zero regrets for this being
Oh, man.
my first movie in this series.
Is there a reason? Is there a reason why you have never seen any of these? Is it like
I
just
thought
a
it
car
looked
guy?
I thought it looked big stupid. And it is
Yeah,
it is big stupid.
It is big stupid.
Yeah, it's stupid. But anyway, the about it being the first thing in my I can't now fuck it. I remember now I can't remember what I was gonna say. Oh, I'm upset. It'll come back to me. It will come back to me. But we did get it out of the way that this is my first.
Yeah,
this is
so
my first Fast and
so if I say something,
Oh, now I remember. Now I
Yes.
remember. Okay. Is this how consistent is this Fast family to the first movie's Fast family? In other words, is it like The Walking Dead where like all your principal characters have been killed off in between seasons like 1 and the last one with the exception of Vin Diesel?
no. So that's kind of the crazy thing,
Yeah.
and honestly, if you're in the 10th movie and you haven't seen any of the other ones, like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, what the fuck are you doing,
Right,
Tom?
Tano?
Yeah.
So let's get into some spoiler shit. Right?
Hanging out with your friends is what you're doing.
Exactly,
Bitch.
exactly. So all of the characters that are in the movie
Yeah.
have either been here from the very beginning,
All these people?
most of them in some way or another.
Not Natalie Emanuel.
Not Natalie Emanuel. Not
Ludacris?
Ludacris has been around since the second movie. So in the first movie, you have obviously Dom,
Yeah.
Brian, and Mia.
Yeah.
Those are the core three. In Too Fast, Too Furious, it almost kind of spun off a little bit,
Mm.
and it just followed Brian, who is Paul Walker.
Spun off.
Spun off, nice. And he actually goes on an adventure with Roman.
So
which is
Gengar
Tyrese.
Gengar went on an adventure with Roman. Gotcha.
Gengar?
Gengar, Paul Walker.
Oh Jesus! Oh no! Too soon. Too soon. But yeah, so they have their own adventure. Then you have the third movie, which is a spin-off,
Yeah.
like completely spin-off. Like it's a completely new cast.
Yeah.
They're in Tokyo. It's not about street racing. It's about drifting.
Yeah.
Which honestly, like
That's nice for the title to let you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
It's the first movie directed by Justin Lin,
Oh.
who has a hell of a history with this franchise.
Hell of a history.
Have you seen the Twitter video?
Have I seen any other Fast? No, I haven't. No, I haven't seen the Twitter video.
You have not. You before the end of this recording, you will have seen
the Twitter video.
the Vin Diesel Twitter with Justin Lin, and it is insane. But anyway, so then the fourth movie, it almost like soft rebooted the franchise.
Okay.
Where it was back to Dom. Sorry, Letty was also around from the beginning.
Who's Letty?
Letty is Michelle Rodriguez.
Ah, very good. Very good.
In the fourth movie, we're back to following Dom, Letty, Brian, and Mia.
Okay.
Exactly. In the fourth movie, Mia dies. Oh, not Mia. Letty dies.
Letty dies?
Letty dies.
But Letty is here.
Letty is here. So, all right.
But another wife died, I thought.
Exactly.
Okay.
So. She loves you, right?
Yeah.
All right. Complicated.
Yeah.
So, fast forward happens. They do some stuff with the Mexican cartels.
Okay.
That's where you're introduced to Gal Gadot.
Gal Gadot.
She works with the bad guy in the fourth movie.
Okay.
Okay. So, at the end of that movie, like they all become fugitives of the law.
Yeah.
They break Dom out of a really cool bus break scene, which is pretty dope. They go to Brazil.
Very nice.
So Letty is dead.
We were in Brazil in this movie.
Exactly, because in Fast 5, that's where they steal the money from Hernan, whatever, Reyes.
From Jason Momoa's father.
Jason Momoa's father.
And they pulled the safe down the highway.
Which was...
That's pretty cool.
So, I love that I got to rewatch that scene again.
Yeah.
Because it's so fucking good. The Fast 5 movie was the last movie before I got back into the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't get to see it in theaters. So I feel like watching that scene like in a big theater would have been fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And getting a chance to see it was pretty fun.
Yeah.
But that movie introduces us to Elena, and The Rock.
Okay.
That's the movie where they officially make Gal Gadot a member of the Fast family.
Oh.
Han is there, who's the Asian dude.
Okay.
Han actually dies in 3,
Oh.
but then 3 actually takes place between 6 and 7.
So there's timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly stuff in this series?
No, it's just out of
I see, out of
place.
order.
Yeah, out of order. Um,
So you mean of all the franchises that really had good reason to not name their movies after numbers? Because
exactly.
this one did.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So that's how 5 ends. At the very end of 5, there's an end credit scene
Okay.
where they find out that Letty is actually alive. She
Oh,
survived her fatal car crash. I don't know what happened to the body because they had a funeral and everything.
gotcha.
She's working for the bad guy.
It's with Henry Cable's body. Because they had a funeral for him. And then he rose on the dirt.
Oh, gotcha.
And then,
Yeah. Okay, Superman reference.
Yeah.
Okay. So then in 6, Owen Shaw is the bad guy. He is the brother of Deckard Shaw.
Who's Jason Statham.
Jason Statham. And she's working for him. They're doing some like weird like thieving. They are hired by like the government to take them down. Eventually, they rescue Letty and they kind of make her back into the family. That's how Deckard gets involved in the 7th movie. In the 7th movie, they have to rescue Ramsey, who is Natalie Emmanuel.
Okay.
From Jemon Hansu.
Okay.
And that's when they're introduced to Mr. Nobody, who is Kurt Russell.
Pause.
Yes.
So when we saw Hobbs and Shaw.
Yes.
When does that one take place? / when did it come out?
So that one takes place after 8.
That one takes place after 8.
Takes place after 8.
Came out after 8.
Came out after 8.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. In 6, like when they're rescuing Letty and all that stuff, Giselle dies.
Okay.
And so then Han goes, I'm going to go to Tokyo. And that's when he dies in Tokyo Drift.
I see.
He's supposedly killed by Deckard. Yeah. So then Deckard goes to jail. Then in 8, that's where The Rock, he gets a team. He's betrayed by Dom. You find out that it's because Cypher, who's Charlize Theron, kidnapped Elena and his illegitimate baby. He did not know they had. That's where they flash back to the scene in the plane.
Okay.
And she kills her.
Yeah.
Then they find out that's why Dom is kind of betraying the family. And then they hire Deckard.
Family in that movie did not mean everything to Dom.
Exactly.
Wow.
Well, because he was trying to save his baby and his baby mama.
So family didn't mean anything to him in the case.
They make a weird point in the movie where they're like, he could have killed us, but he didn't.
Yeah.
Because he cares about us. What's wrong? What's happening here?
Yeah.
It's all sort of weird. And then that's when Deckard gets broken out of jail to help rescue the baby so that Dom is fully unleashed. And he betrays Cypher. Cypher gets arrested. Then you have Fast 9, which is where John Cena comes in.
Cars in space.
He's butthurt because his brother thinks that he killed his dad when in fact Michael Rooker then tells Dom, "Nah, you stupid. Your dad threw the race. He had Jacob like mess with something in his engine, but it backfired and it caused the car to blow up. So like it wasn't actually your brother's fault." So that's why he's involved in Fast 10.
I see.
Yeah, and then you have the spin-off, which you've seen.
Which I've seen.
And now we're here.
Holy
shit.
What a story, Mark.
What a story.
And that's it, everybody. Good night.
So I forgot to say one thing. In Fast 9, the people from Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift come back.
Okay.
Little Bow Wow, some other black dude, and then a white boy come back.
In Fast 9.
In Fast 9, they are the ones who make the rocket car. They have to go to space to like blow up a satellite.
I see.
Insane.
Yeah. I'll get to that later on.
Absolutely. So in this movie, I will say I don't want to say they did a good job, but they did an adequate job at maintaining the insanity of the action.
This was my question.
Yes.
As someone who hasn't seen any of these, and as someone who had heard that Fast 9 involved cars in space.
Yes.
I was watching this movie. I'm like, I don't know if anything surpassed Cars in Space in craziness. So I
Yes.
ask you, as a veteran and a scholar of the Fast franchise,
Where's my degree?
yes, was there anything in craziness that for you surpassed Cars in Space?
So here's the thing. I know people have been joking about Carson Space for a fat minute with this franchise because I mean, what else can you
It's
do?
Cars in Space.
Every movie since Fast Five
Yeah,
has had like an increase in like
crazy.
exactly. So think of it like John Wick, right?
Yeah,
In John Wick, the first movie you have like the cool shootout at the club. Second
yeah.
movie you have the chase through the catacombs. The third movie you have
Murder with
invading
Book.
Murder with Book and the big shootout with like the armed guards, the
Yeah,
armored guards. And then we go into the fourth one and go, what the fuck can you do now?
fucking Dragonfire,
Fucking
shotgun,
Dragonfire,
fucking,
right? Dragonfire
fucking all the
shotgun.
action.
Exactly. And so that's kind of what was happening with Fast Five because in Fast Five, you go, you're pulling a safe through the streets of Rio.
Yeah.
What the hell did you do in the next movie? Well, here's a tank. And then you go, okay, well, now they had a tank. What do you do in the next movie?
Yeah.
Well, you're dropping cars from a plane with parachutes
Yeah.
to go into the side of a mountain. You go,
Yeah.
well, what's up with eight? There's a fucking nuclear submarine.
Yeah.
What's happening in nine? Cars in space.
And 10,
In 10,
you just got Jason Momoa,
you got Jason Momoa,
the fucking Joker.
which
Which makes me wonder, is there, so you know how like you were the one who taught me this, that competitive eating is, I guess, like reaching, it's soon to reach its like peak because like there's there's a scientific understanding of like what techniques and like what kind of body you need to
yes.
like fit as much food as possible in the tummy.
Mhm.
But like we're getting there where like tummies are looking to be
As
as
they can
full as they
possibly
can
be.
possibly be, right? Do you feel like spectacle in action film can ever reach a point where you can reach like a peak level of spectacle? Not necessarily like a magic button that you can press where like this is the craziest shit that you can do, but can franchises peak out at the available amount of spectacle in them? And anything else that you would do would just
So
not be as grand.
so I think this kind of reverts back to the conversation we had last summer
Mm,
with No,
yeah.
because that movie is all about like spectacle. No
Hmm.
matter what the spectacle is, good or bad,
Spectacle.
someone's gonna watch,
Yep.
right? And I think in this situation, it becomes a case of does it make sense in the world that you're building?
Yeah.
And I think that's why these movies have been able to do some insanely stupid things.
Yeah.
And people go, hell yeah.
And I'm down for that kind of stupid.
And and here's the thing, if it was done in like a very not just stupid way, because
Mm,
it is clearly stupid,
yeah.
but if it was done like in a bad way and people were like checked out,
Mhm.
uh, these movies wouldn't be successful.
Right.
You don't make $1 billion on people watching a movie just once.
Yeah.
This is like the money that you get from like repeat viewing.
And another one.
And another
And
one.
another one.
And
Missionary.
and I think the escalation of the craziness, as long as like the fans feel like it's within the realm of what's been shown,
Yeah.
they're willing to accept it.
Yes.
And so that's why in this movie, while it does feel like it's scaled back a little bit, it does feel like, well, nobody really feels like anybody's in danger in these movies.
Yeah.
Like you do feel like, in this world, this makes sense, and this they are in some sort of risk, whether or not you believe in the repercussions of what's going to happen,
So
right?
is there a way to cap cars in space in terms, I'm not asking you to come up with the way, but I'm just saying, do you think that there's a way to cap cars in space in this universe, or is that the peak of the crazy?
I think that has to be the peak of the crazy.
That's so bittersweet in a way.
In a way, it
Yeah.
is, but they did they did a solid job in this movie at giving you still action set pieces that felt exciting
Yeah.
while not going to the peak of Carson Space. Because even then, Carson Space in that movie was not really like the most exciting
part of the
part of
movie.
the movie. Like it was kind of funny
Yeah.
to see Luda and Tyrese in a fucking Pinto, like with rockets strapped to the back of them, and going, "Oh shit,
Yeah.
Tootsie Rolls!"
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's just the insanity of the situation is what's happening, but like the action of going to space was not the exciting thing in the
Mm.
movie. There were other things happening in that movie. They have a big truck with like a giant magnet,
Mm.
and so then as they're chasing the truck, the cars are like in the street are getting like pushed into the truck and like just
That's
causing
pretty
a
cool.
clusterfuck.
That's pretty cool.
And in this movie, you do have some pretty cool set pieces, and like the first set piece is really good.
Yeah.
They're chasing a bomb down the streets of
Streets
Rome
of the Vatican. Yep.
because the bomb is magically drawn straight into the Vatican. Which again, you're playing with some really funky physics here.
Some funky physics. There's people everywhere who are thanking God that Dominic Toretto saved the Catholic Church.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you have people who are like, Dom is trying to blow up the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
Which, if this is like a job put on by the agency who got tricked, you would think that the people from the agency would be like, oh no, this is something else. We're good.
Right. Right.
They do play fast and loose. Um, and you never really lose that momentum after that, I think.
Hmm.
The first
No, it's all momentum.
the first like 40 minutes of this movie before they get into well, I was saying the first like half hour before they get into Rome,
Yeah.
it does drag a little bit. You have a bit of the high of rewatching the Rio scene from the Fast Five movie.
Right.
But after that, it's all like exposition and
I'm trying. There are many points where I felt the movie dragged. I'm trying to remember where exactly.
so that
But
for sure, like
yeah,
that little stretch where they're having their family barbecue.
I thought that was nice.
I mean, it is,
Yeah.
but this is also the first time you've seen
Right.
this scene, and this scene is in every fucking
I
movie.
was pretty like the family stuff really was like
I
laid on
counted,
you.
I there was like a small stretch of like maybe 2-3 minutes
Yeah.
where I counted how many times they said family because I heard it like 4 times. So I was like, well, let's count. I think I gave up after like 8 or 9.
It
In
was
like 2 minutes, I
it
was like, holy
was
shit.
they're aware of the joke.
They are aware of the joke. But here's the thing.
Hmm.
There's one person who's not aware of the joke.
Is Vin Diesel not aware of the joke?
I do not think Vin Diesel is aware of the joke.
That's
Vin Diesel, in his heart, believes these are Oscar-worthy movies.
I always did think Vin Diesel was dumb, and I still kind of do. So it's nice to like.
Like I love the fact that he is so passionate about something
Yeah.
that he's willing to, go scorched earth and embarrass himself. But the passion that he has for these movies is definitely like admirable.
Passion will get you far.
Because and here's the thing, I think what helps and hurts at the same time
Mhm.
is these movies went through a stretch of time where they were insanely profitable.
Yeah.
Um, I think Fast Six was the first movie in the franchise to like break 1 billion,
Hmm.
and then Fast Seven happened, and Paul Walker died,
Hmm.
and then like that shot it to
Yeah.
like 1.5 billion. Even Fast Eight like cracked 1 billion.
Mm.
So like for a while, like that was absolutely like a boost to the ego for him.
Right.
And that's where, you start to have issues also with like other actors like The Rock,
Yeah.
where he comes in and he's like, what the fuck is happening? He reminds me a lot of the character Ames in this movie.
Do we fully know the reason behind their feud? I don't need it. I don't need a whole explanation, but do we know? We know what it is.
Yeah, so that was all a big combination of like egos
Gotcha.
fighting against each other. It was almost like a three-way problem between Vin Diesel, The Rock, and Jason Statham.
You know who wasn't feuding? Dave Bautista,
Dave Bautista was not.
because he is the best wrestler turned actor.
Exactly.
Yes.
So the problem that was happening between the three of them was in their contracts, they had a thing where like you could not give more than you could take, or you could not take more than you were giving,
Mm.
essentially. So like if there was a fight,
Mhm.
like you could not get beat up more than the other person was getting beat up.
Oh, I see.
And like you start to see that a lot, especially like in 6, 7, and 8,
Yeah.
where like nobody's really getting hurt.
Mm,
Like people are fighting, and like a lot of the fights end in like a stalemate.
gotcha.
Like something outside of the control of like the two arguing parties like comes in and stops the match.
Something. Yeah.
Uh, and it that's kind of what started with that tension between the three like actors.
Gotcha. Interesting.
Which is weird
Very
because
weird.
you have a movie like John Wick. Again,
Yeah.
always coming back to John Wick. Dude,
Taking him
he's
beatings.
getting the shit beat out of him.
Then you have Jason Statham doing the fucking Meg, which like I'm excited to see, don't get me wrong, but I feel like if you're doing the Meg, you have no like
I think Jason Statham got into that as like a side effect of what the culture was in the movie coming in.
yeah, fair enough, but at the same point,
Yeah,
there's no leg to stand on of ego and
for
being
sure.
the main character in the Meg.
For sure.
Yeah.
But I mean overall though, I think this movie though having this movie suffers from I think the most from Paul Walker not being in them anymore.
Mm,
Honestly, I think since 8. 7 is the last one with Paul Walker. I think 8, 9, and 10 are definitely the weakest ones.
really, seven was the last one with Paul Walker. That's crazy.
Yeah, and that movie had an insane like production cycle because he died halfway through shooting the movie.
Yeah,
So like they had to then figure out, well, how do we finish this? How do we deal with the end of this movie?
right.
Like I don't know like what the whole like background thing like is internally, but like they did have to have his brothers come in
Yeah,
for like stand-ins because they're a lot similar to him. So like digital replacement of the face was a lot easier for them and all that shit.
interesting.
Um, but also I feel like in 7 you go to 8. That's the movie where those are like the movies that I feel like Dom is the most on his own,
Mm,
and he is such a boring character.
yeah, I'm not like I'm not. I saw this right. Like I went in with like, here. I don't dislike the movie. Let me put that out there. I don't dislike
Sure,
the movie. It was actually exactly what I like
pictured.
expected. Yeah. Um, and I don't know why I never really like cared for Vin Diesel. Like early on, since I like first noticed him as an actor. But like, I think that was the one thing that kind of surprised me. I was like, I do not give a fuck about Dom.
No, and he does get some pretty cool shit to do
Yeah.
when he's not like acting. When he's not like
Yeah.
the only thing happening on the screen,
Yeah.
like it's cool because he is in the spectacle of what's happening. He is the best driver out of the group.
Yeah. But
He
that.
gets
Yeah.
but that's
Yeah.
because that's how they
That's
write him,
engineered, right?
right? Yeah, he gets like the big chase down
Yeah. You
in
know,
Rome.
that scene in Infinity War where they're fighting in the London or whatever city they're in subway with the children of Thanos. And then like, the spear and someone catches it and then you're da 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 da
Yeah,
da 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 and you're like, it's fucking Captain America, let's go. Like none of that energy.
none
None
of
of
that
that
energy.
energy with Dom whatsoever.
No,
You just
and
got this bald ass
he's
stupid ass.
just
You
scowling the
want to
whole fucking
race?
time.
Let's race.
Like that scene of him like trying to intimidate Jason Momoa.
Yeah.
It just feels so one-sided because the whole time you're like, dude, Jason Momoa is so fucking cool.
I'm so fucking cool.
He's so fucking good.
This was such a good Batman movie, and by such a good Batman movie, I mean such a good Joker movie.
This is it's funny that he is a better Joker
Then Joaquin,
than Joaquin Phoenix,
yeah,
than Jared Leto.
yeah,
It's kind of sad
yeah,
because then you're kind of like, could you so with the whole with the whole reset of the DC universe,
right.
imagine a world where like he goes into a meeting with James Gunn. He's like, "Hey, let me play Joker."
I would be for it.
Dude, he could have killed it,
I
but
think,
I feel like now he can't.
and it would also be like fresh because say what you will, right?
Uh-huh.
Um, Joker, Joaquin Phoenix, to me is really just a big riff on Ledger Joker in the sense that's like, oh, like troubled psychotic guy. Like they're making him a protagonist, so like you
Yeah.
get like layers. I think the Batman is really just like a riff on Nolan Batman. And I know that I used to be like a Nolan simp, so like I'm biased. But I see those like to me I see those as being very much derivative on early 2010s Batman. Whereas like a Jason Momoa Joker would feel like a
Fresh.
new incarnation of the Joker.
And here's the thing. In these movies, they've always had a tendency to make the villains, I don't want to say grounded, but like very serious, very
Yeah.
like
Why so serious?
basically.
Why so
And then
serious?
you have Jason Momoa walk in wearing basically Aladdin's genie
Yep.
character.
It's beautiful nail polish.
He's funny.
Yeah.
He's like he's got the OMG Raffle Mao, I'm so random,
Yeah.
but you don't
But he'll fuck
hate
you
it.
up. No.
And he's like his jokes I think land.
Very much so.
And he's the kind of crazy that like I think you want in a movie where you're like, this guy is absolutely chaos.
Yep.
He's here to have a good time, but also fuck you up.
But and what makes it partially interesting is he's also very like masculine. Whereas like that chaotic evil.
Well, he's masculine, but also not at the same time because he even makes fun of that joke at the same time.
Yes.
He's like, "Well, we gotta get rid of some of this toxic
Yeah,
masculinity.
yeah,
Let's
yeah,
paint
yeah.
our fingernails."
Yeah, but just visually the fact that he's so hulking and big.
Yeah.
And like
Well, there's a bit of a disconnect, right?
yeah,
Because like physically speaking,
yeah.
he is a very scary, intimidating guy.
He's called Drogo. And that's the thing.
Yeah,
He'll always be called Drogo.
always.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, like his mannerisms and the way he talks and the way he jokes is also like very disarming at the same time.
Yeah. He's so good.
His introduction, I think, was fantastic in this movie,
Mm.
where he walks in holding two dead guys, and
Yeah.
then he's like joking around when he clearly, you walk into a room with like 15 armed guards,
Hmm.
and he knows from the very beginning he's got the upper hand,
Yeah.
and it's so good. Because you also have Charlize Theron in this movie.
Who I read in this movie, when I say read, my first reading of her on the screen was that like, oh, she was a criminal mastermind, right?
Yeah,
And now she's being out masterminded
by this
fucking
fucking
Jason
this
Momoa.
fucking guy.
Yeah.
I loved his joke where he's like, "Oh, I had to kill this fucking guy because he has no family, not even a kitty cat to kidnap." And I'm like, damn,
Yeah.
such a good joke.
And that actual like I don't know. I mean, I'm sure other maybe action movies have done it, but that like villain scheme of we will kidnap all of the goons' families
And turn them.
and use them as leverage to turn the goons against their boss. That actually felt very smart and fresh for me because like it turned the goons into like characters.
And you see them like as they're like realizing what's happening. Like
Yeah.
they do have a bit of like a
Yeah.
sorry, Cypher.
Yeah.
And
It's not just the Pokemon NPC who stands in Route 4 all day. Like
yeah, and
Yeah.
and good for them for actually making, because Cypher, for what it's worth, it's Charlize.
hmm
Like
she's great.
she's great.
Yeah.
But in the movies, she's kind of like cliche, like
Mm.
James Bond villain.
Her layer looked like that.
Yes. I mean, the first movie, she has like a plane that just does not fucking land.
Mm.
That's why they're fucking flying the whole
Mhm.
goddamn movie. Um, and even in the last movie, she's like the one pulling the strings in the background and all that
Mm.
shit. And it kind of then feels cool to have this guy who's like, he's just here to party.
Yeah.
It gave this movie the shot in the arm that it needed, because I will, I will talk about my rankings of these movies.
Mm.
Um, the last two movies are at my bottom of my list,
Yeah.
and I don't dislike them. I will 100% say
You had a good time.
I had a good time watching them. I understand what they are.
Yeah.
I know these movies are not meant to be
Yeah.
like Oscar worthy movies. You're just there to watch cars go vroom,
Right.
and that's what they deliver. But they are significantly lesser products to what's come before.
Yeah.
And I feel like this movie was the first time since Seven where I was like, not only is this like fun,
Mm.
like there's a hint of like good shit here too.
Mm.
And like specifically with Jason Momoa's character.
Yeah.
Because I was concerned when I first heard of like, when I heard he was coming in, I was like, oh cool, I like Jason Momoa.
Right.
But then I heard like, oh, he's playing Ray as his son. I'm like, God Damn it! Fuck!
Yeah.
Why is because everything has to be
Why
connected?
is everybody family?
Why is everybody family?
Yeah.
And this movie has so much of that where
Yeah.
I audibly went, what the fuck, a few times. I don't know if you heard because you were a few like
I was
seats
a couple
away.
seats away. I did hear it a couple times. You were also, I think you were also surprised by Gal Gadot. Yes.
At the end, she fucking steps out of a submarine,
Yeah.
and I'm like, please don't, please don't, please don't. And it's Gal Gadot's fucking beautiful face, and I'm like, God damn it, fuck! Can no one say that? Because then
I
that leads to the thing.
well, all these other people are going to be alive, right?
Ah,
John Cena's going to be alive.
God damn it, dude! I don't.
All the people on the plane are going to be alive.
So here's the thing. All right, so John Cena came into this movie.
Yeah.
This movie came out the same year, or the last movie, sorry, came out the same fucking year as Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
And he was so much fucking fun as Peacemaker in that movie.
Yeah.
Goofy, but like still kind of weird.
Yeah.
And then you have the fucking show last year. Did you finish?
Didn't start.
Fantastic. I
Yeah.
fucking love that
I've
show.
heard good things.
And then the fucking movie in Fast 9, he's so boring.
Mm,
He just stands there scowling the whole fucking time.
that's sad.
And you're like, you know that you have a good
You know,
comedic
you have
actor
the
here.
second best wrestler turned actor in your movie.
Exactly.
Which means,
But then in this movie, they bring him in and he's having fun.
yeah, he was.
His action scene in the house where he's saving Little B,
Yeah,
like, was actually fun.
yeah.
And
I liked the plane.
I like the dynamic. I usually don't like kids in movies, but I
Yeah,
thought that dynamic was fun. I do love the fact that he made that kid a straight up cold blooded murderer.
yeah,
He's like, hey, here, push this button,
yeah.
and damn, he just killed like 10 people.
And he didn't curse.
Holy shit!
Well, he wasn't allowed to curse.
Yeah, he can't say shit, but he
Yeah.
can murder people with a bomb.
Yeah, priorities.
And then they kill him. Well,
Well,
quote unquote.
yeah. At first, I saw it, and I was like, "Oh, I guess it makes as a rookie of the franchise." And I guess this might be telling about the quality that you're kind of able to figure out, like, what the fuck is going on with the whole franchise by just seeing a bit of 10. Because when John Cena died, I was like, "Oh, that's that is very sad, right?" But many big names in this movie. You gotta like. It seems that this is the end of the road, right? You gotta start like you got to start whittling the old walking stick down.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the plane crashes at the end with everybody else in it, I'm like, oh, nobody dies in these, do they? And then,
And that's the thing, because so you had Gal Gadot dying in 6,
yeah,
which prompts Han to leave,
yeah,
which then Han dies in Tokyo Drift.
uh-huh.
But then in the last movie, they fucking bring Han back,
Yeah,
and they do some convoluted. Here's the thing, I don't know. I've seen that movie twice, and I cannot remember how they brought him back.
which number?
9.
Ah,
This is the last one.
yeah,
I don't remember how they explain Han being back. They're like, oh yeah, his car blew up and he's in that building over there.
yep.
And I'm like, okay, sure, whatever. And maybe I could explain Gal Gadot because she dies in the movie and you don't see a body. It just like goes flying off a plane and you're like, all right, cool, she's dead.
Right.
I don't know. But clearly John Cena should die in this movie after what happened to him.
Yes.
He's in that car and it blows up.
And everybody in the plane should die.
Everybody, I don't think that one.
Ironically, in movies, it's easier to survive a plane crash than a car crash because you can just like,
Especially in these movies because they've proven that you can parachute
yeah,
a car out of a plane.
yeah,
Um, but there's some people there are some characters in this that I'm like, you could die. I don't know that they want you to die in these movies,
but you could die.
but man, there's so many people.
Yeah,
There's so many people.
yeah.
And then the one that doesn't make sense to be alive is fucking Brian because his real actress dead.
That's funny.
Let's all right, let's start wrapping into this
Yeah.
because I have a couple of thoughts. Honestly, we talked about the movie. Oh, Brie Larson does an okay job for the 2 scenes that she's in.
I did not know that Brie Larson wasn't in previous.
No,
movies. Yeah.
she's apparently related to Kurt Russell's character.
Ah,
Okay.
yeah. I thought she did a fine job.
She's fine. I kind of wish she was in this a little bit more. Another thing that kind of made me go, God damn it, was when is her name Daniela Melchior? Melchior?
Who?
She's Ratcatcher in
Oh,
in
in
Suicide
Suicide Squad.
Squad.
Okay.
She's the girl in Brazil who he saves.
Yeah.
They explain why he chooses to save her, who's a rando,
Mm,
to the series over the guy who he was friends with in the fifth one
right.
because she's related to Elena. Which again, why is everybody fucking related in this goddamn movie?
Family.
Fine, whatever. Um, but now the problem with the movie is they're adding so many fucking people to these movies.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, the problem coming into sequels.
Well, so you're saying it's not going to really be the end of the road.
Well, no.
Yeah.
They've already said they wanted to do like a part one, part two.
Right. Well, I know that,
Fine.
but
The way the movie ends,
yeah.
you have to, right? Could they have done a better job? Sure. I think they could have changed a few things and made it seem a little better than like leaving it in a full on cliffhanger.
Hmm.
Um, but then they're saying this could possibly be a trilogy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why? Because then I feel you're approaching the problem that we had with Halloween.
I think this is to the core of why this gets to the core of why I actually don't. So when I said I didn't like actively dislike this movie, I'm about to say I don't like this movie. I think there is a distinction between I don't like and I dislike.
Yeah.
I dislike means that like this movie makes me somewhat angry. I don't like this means that like I don't need to see it again.
Mm.
I don't care for it. It's just so like nonstop momentum, 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 momentum. And sometimes that's good. I don't think this movie does it well. Where I'm like, I couldn't fucking take this for like two more of these. I could take it for another one.
Uh-huh.
Like, but like three, and like you would presumably be wrapping up the same like conflict central story arc. I mean, like, oh, that's too much for me. That's too fast.
That's too furious for
Not
you.
actually really that furious, just like infuriating.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But here's the problem that I have. So I think that this then leads into, like I just said, this leads into the Halloween problem, where going into Halloween 2 that whatever happens in this movie is inconsequential because you have a third fucking movie
Mm-hmm.
coming out.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck is gonna happen in the second movie that then needs to be resolved in the third movie? It's a layover from this fucking
It's not
movie.
like there's character arcs that you feel like you need to explore,
No, not by this
or
point.
like
Not with everybody fucking not dying.
or mysteries, right? Like it's one thing, like if you're going to Harry Potter and the Half Blood Prince, you're like, like what's going to lead to the final showdown? Like I want, even though I know the seven one's coming out, like I need to know what's happening here.
So I think
Whereas,
what needs to happen, and this is my pitch,
mhm,
I guess. Fine, if they want to do three movies, I get it. What they need to do is they need to basically do a sequel to Hobbs and Shaw
mm,
for your sequel to this, and then tie off all those fucking loose threads because fucking Jason Statham leaves
in this movie,
like an hour and a half into this movie and just never returns.
yeah,
The Rock shows up at the end on his own mission.
right,
So that's already two threads that like are unrelated to the whole thing happening with Dom. Really, like
mm-hmm.
yes, Jason Momoa is the through thread here, but in a single movie you're gonna wrap everything up. That's so scattered.
What was that movie that had Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and somebody else?
Oh, Escape Plan.
Is that what it was called?
I think so.
Oh, it was called like not the other guys, but I thought it was like
Oh, Joe the Expendables. That's a different movie,
yes. Who was in that movie?
dude. Fucking everybody.
Sly.
Sly, Stallone, Statham.
Stallone is Sly. You fucking casual.
Sorry, Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. Statham.
Statham, Terry Crews. I think at one point Wesley Snipes was in there.
Okay.
Bruce Willis.
So Bruce Willis. All right.
A
So
bunch of nobodies.
you had those like three legacy '80s,
Uh-huh.
like '80s action stars. I feel like so like when Expendables came out, I feel like the whole marketing was like, you were fucking wondering what like Schwarzenegger and Stallone in the same movie is with Bruce Willis. Like, here's this fucking movie. I feel like that is basically what these movies are. It's like, look at all these beautiful hulking people. Put some fucking cars in there. No turn signals. Let's go.
All gas, no
Yeah.
brakes.
Which is where my idea for a crossover, I
Uh-oh.
think, is where the series needs to go.
Transformers.
Before we get there, let's try Fast and the Furious with Priuses. Unless
With
that's been done.
Priuses.
Unless that's been done.
I don't think with like weenie cars.
Because that'd be fucking funny.
That would be fucking funny.
So
You know what?
Priuses,
They could do it. They could do something like that where they have to race using like a piece of shit car.
fast and the environmentally responsible. And then after you do that,
Then you go into
Transformers crossover.
Transformers.
Yeah.
The problem with that, I know they've joked about it, but it's two different studios, and there's no fucking way they are merging two like billion-dollar companies
I'm
and try to
aware,
share some profits.
but if they cared about the art,
If they cared about the art,
then they would do fast Transformers crossover.
maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, they could do Jurassic World and dinosaurs and cars.
That would be also pretty cool.
That would be pretty dope.
Because as we have expounded upon before on this very program, dinosaurs are
Fucking cool.
fucking cool.
Same with jets.
Same with
Jets
jets.
cars are cool.
I was thinking about this earlier. I don't put cars in the category of cool.
No.
No, I think cars are cars. They're fine. They're neat. Jets are cool.
See,
this is where we differ, you and I.
Yeah, as someone who's seen the other movies where they were like car based,
Yeah.
and like the cars were like the show thing.
Yeah.
Like cars were cool.
Yep.
I feel like these movies have definitely made cars less cool.
I've never been a cars are cool type of person. People ask me, "What's your dream car?" I say the one with the most backseat room to be banging your mama. And
Oh no!
Yeah.
So here's the problem. This movie went off the rails like day one. The fucking director left like a week into shooting. Which led to an insane fucking interaction between Vin Diesel and the director.
Yeah.
Where he goes, hey, we just wrapped up the first day of shooting. How did it go? And Justin Lin looks so defeated. So it's a 20-second video clip.
Yeah.
Just watch this.
Just week one. Week one. Feels like the beginning of an epic ending.
You can.
Is it fair to say that this would be the best one? My heart, yes.
You can tell.
So
you can tell. I completely now buy your theory that Vin Diesel has no self-awareness.
Vin Diesel has no self-awareness.
Yeah.
Holy shit, dude.
He either has no self-awareness or he has all the self-awareness. I doubt it's the latter.
I just love. He's like, in my heart, I do. Oh man, that lives rent free in my heart. That then led to like this movie ballooning to $350 fucking million. There's no way this movie's making money back on this.
Yeah.
And he wants a trilogy?
Yeah.
Insane.
In the membrane.
In the membrane. Man, here's the thing. I still have fun. I understand these movies are just mindless fun for the sake of mindless fun. And the question that I have for you is like, when is mindless entertainment not okay?
That's a good question.
Because like people have been writing think pieces about this fucking movie.
Yeah.
And honestly, this franchise since like the last three.
Because is John Wick mindless entertainment?
I would say so, but that's fun.
Yeah. And John Wick is also momentum after momentum.
Momentum.
I don't know what it is about this movie and not about John Wick that made me go like, all right, let's fucking wrap this up.
Was it the fact that he drove his car down the dam?
No.
And you go, how does that happen?
No, I'm everything that was ridiculous. I had no problem with. I was just like kind of bored. And
Fair.
And I don't know why some mindless entertainment can do that with you and others can't. Maybe honestly, maybe that's where it gets into. So you know how like, post Star Wars prequels, people like made a big like, there was a big internet conversation about like, it's not about special effects. It's about like character and blah, blah, blah.
That's just their way of saying, excuse our shitty CG.
Well, okay. Anyway, there was good points about how it was about character writing and not, necessarily about spectacle all the time.
Sure.
But I will say that like some spectacle is like better than other spectacle.
For
and
sure.
I think what makes John Wick so good is like that spectacle is like very, very like technically great spectacle.
So here's the problem that I have with this movie is that because I am chronically online,
Yeah.
and like I see like a lot of what they share within the making of these movies, like I know for a fact that they do a lot of practical shit for these movies.
Yeah.
Like they do have a lot of like stunt drivers. They have a lot of like choreographers who have to, choreograph all this insane shit.
But is it always done in the most interesting way?
And that's the problem.
John Wick, I think
John Wick, it
always
is
done in the most interesting way.
I think so. In this movie, there's got to be a point where you're
Yeah.
kind of like, well, at one point is that the craziest thing that is just now noise for the sake of noise.
Like a battle droid and a stormtrooper do look cooler than a lot of like generic space baddies.
Yes.
People like why I brought it back to Star Wars. People like, oh, like what set Star Wars apart from every other space movie that you don't remember? It was like the character, and I'm like, yes, and that their shit does like look cool.
Yes, it has a look.
Yes, like kids want to play with those toys.
Yes,
I do think that there's like on a technical level, like this film like doesn't reach to the occasion that it needs to reach to make it like wow. And there are points though. I mean, there are points where you're like, this is fucking awesome. But like they're not they're points rather than just the entirety of the canvas.
And that's one of the things that kind of does bug me about this movie is that like I know that a lot of these things are being done practical, but the way they are put together does not look real and it looks weird. And that I do feel like takes you a little bit out of it. I will say one thing that I am very excited for in the future is definitely more Jason Momoa. He looks like he's sticking around, especially if it means 3 movies.
They better all have Jason Momoa.
They better all have Jason Momoa. Yeah, he's so good.
Jason Momoa needs to fist fight Optimus Prime.
Goddamn.
Over his crashed Prius.
Over his crashed Prius?
Yes.
We'll see about that. All right. I do think this is a good place to end it. Everybody wanged.
We wanged.
Everybody chunged.
We chunged.
Everybody went but thank you all for joining us on our discussion of just very insane stacked movie.
Yes.
Holy shit.
That I'm glad I saw.
Good.
That I'm glad I saw.
It does kind of hurt a little bit that I was not able to get to watch what is actually the best of these movies. Because Fast 5 is the best of these movies. And the fact that this is the first one that you see, I'm like, man, that stings.
I can still watch it one day.
Probably, but for like an intro point.
Yeah.
I think if you get someone to watch Fast 5, you go, man, I see why people like these things.
Yeah. Well, there's always time.
Always time. Okie dokie. So, Thomas officially child-free.
I signed the new contract.
I mean, yes, but for the summer.
It's summer.
Would be nice.
We fell short. You'll get this in like 2 days, bitch.
Bitch, 4 days. So I still have work, but we have a busy summer.
We got some TV shows coming up for y'all.
We got some TV shows. We've got season 9 of How I Met Your Mother in the summer.
How I Met Your Mother in the summer. And I think we'll be ready to do jury duty.
We got jury duty. I do want to rewatch it before we record that. I think our next episode will be next week's Spider-Verse.
Sweet.
Which I am very upset because there is an Japanese artist named Lisa, who does fantastic work.
Yeah.
She has done some of the best anime openings. And she is doing a song for Spider-Verse, but it's exclusive to the Japanese dub. And I'm like, God damn it.
So sad.
So sad.
So sad.
But we'll be back with a conversation for that. And summer season just got started, y'all.
Love it.
All right, everybody. Once again, thank your student May
Thank you, Meg.
for the lovely fan art.
Yes.
That should be official on the podcast
On the
for this
book.
episode.
Yes.
All right, everybody. Until next time, he's been Tano.
He's been Javier.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.